Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. And I just want to start here with letting you know it's been officially 2 years since Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 launched on PS5. And I just wanted to take a moment to ask you guys, you can let me know your answer down in the comments below. Do you believe Spider-Man 2 lived up to the hype? Is it a game that you thoroughly enjoyed? Or do you believe it was lacking in some regard? Let me know your opinion down below. But starting here with the first news item, the PlayStation Store quietly added a crucial new feature, and it seems as though Sony's been doing a lot of updates to the PlayStation Store somewhat quietly. Being reported by Push Square, they say Sony's been quietly making crucial new improvements to the PlayStation Store, like the recent addition of user reviews. And it's just rolled out a very nice feature that's long overdue, as first spotted by Reddit. Fans browsing discounted games may now spot a lowest price in the last 30 days tab, which will tell you if a title's been cheaper over the past month or so. A lot of independent PlayStation Store trackers offer a similar feature, so many of you may be familiar with this functionality, but this is the first time PlayStation has integrated it into the storefront itself. We suppose a more useful metric here would be lowest ever price, as then you would be able to see if you're truly getting a deal or not. This information does admittedly exist on many of the websites that we mentioned, which track prices over time. Nevertheless, this is a useful and welcome feature. So yeah, absolutely worth taking a moment here to inform you guys about this, but point out the fact that Sony is making some, I would say, pretty significant updates to the PlayStation Store. Again, quietly, it seems like it's something they're prioritizing behind the scenes. So let me know how you feel about some of the changes that Sony's making to the PlayStation Store. Moving on from that, we have a few updates for Ghost of Yotei. The first is being reported by Gaming Bolt. It says Sucker Punch has released a new patch for Ghost of Yotei with numerous bug and crash fixes, including one that could rarely occur when using ray tracing. Those who purchased the Digital Deluxe Edition but did not receive the Black Ghost Mask after completing the To Catch a Spider side quest, I assume, should now be able to do so. Other fixes target numerous mission blockers, whether it's not receiving flash bombs in fighting fire with fire, or missing the armor upgrade scene from the tail of the Oni. If that wasn't enough, a placeholder asset in the Kitsune's Fate has been replaced as well, and they released the full patch notes, of course, but yes, it is a host of minor bug fixes and, you know, Sucker Punch just kind of ironing out, I guess you could say, the last batch of issues that have been detected with Ghost of Yotei. And so I figured I would just let you guys know about this, but we're also talking about the possibility of Ghost of Yotei DLC. This is again being reported by Push Square. They say beyond the previously confirmed Legends mode, it seems that what Ghost of Yotei developer Sucker Punch will do next is still very much up in the air. The studio will soon decide what its next big project shall be, and it doesn't sound like any DLC or expansions for Ghost of Yotei have been locked in yet. In fact, the chances of the latter even happening appear to depend heavily on what the game's player base is saying. Speaking to Game Informer via Eurogamer, lead developers Jason Connell and Ian Ryan suggest that the Iki Island DLC for Ghost of Tsushima came about as a result of fans wanting to see more of Jin's story. It's taking the same approach of listening to the players as it determines whether there will be a Ghost of Yotei expansion. Certainly, we love Atsu and we think it's a great character, and just like with Jin, if there's room to improve it or bring some new elements to life or clarity for the narrative's sake, and it falls within what's best for Sucker Punch, then we'll certainly take a hard look at that for sure. So I have to let you guys know I have not completed Ghost of Yotei yet. I think I'm about 70% complete. So I don't know how this game ends, but it is interesting that they're talking about the idea of DLC. I remember how Sucker Punch approached it with Ghost of Tsushima, and I could very well see them doing something similar with Ghost of Yotei. But, you know, I'm curious what you guys think. Do you want a DLC for Ghost of Yotei? We are getting the Legends mode, and that's coming early 2026. And I think for a lot of people, that's going to be more than enough to kind of extend their playtime with this title. But yeah, they're kind of saying it's up to us. So let me know down in the comments if that's something you'd want to see. Moving on from that, we have an interesting report here regarding Horizon's tribes and how they seemingly were very expensive and time consuming to create. So this is being reported on by Tweaktown, and it says that this tidbit of information comes by way of a written declaration from Van Beek in regards to Sony's active copyright infringement lawsuit against Tencent. The company behind PlayStation is suing Tencent, saying that Tencent's game Light of Motorum is essentially a blatant imitator of Sony's Horizon series. The declaration is nearly 24 pages and worth a read, but here's an excerpt below. The Horizon storyline features humanity living in culturally distinct, technologically primitive tribes, coexisting with machines in different ways. Creating the tribes was one of the most time-consuming and expensive parts of the Horizon development process. We had to create style manuals for each tribe, ranging from 60 to 200 pages, and make countless artistic choices in designing the tribes' physical traits, attire, accessories, dwellings, etc. In developing the various tribes, we worked with anthropologists to understand how tribal cultures form. We read literature, talked to experts, listened to presentations, and did significant research to understand how real-world tribes are formed and what creates unique tribal cultures. We invested countless hours into research before we began creating the visual environment and narrative of Horizon. We designed each tribe to have a unique aesthetic design reflecting its material, culture, and home biome. We chose distinctive color palettes to reinforce each biome's identity and the cultural distinctiveness of its inhabitants. For example, the Nora tribe wears primitive apparel made primarily from animal hides, leather, linen, and protective metal plates, accented with feathers, embroidery, wooden beads, metal accents, and discarded cables. So the reason why I think this is interesting and worth going over is because we are gaining further insight into the Horizon franchise and why it's such an expensive title, right? We know that Sony has been trying in the last couple of years to keep their budgets within range and kind of cut costs in certain areas where it makes sense to do so, because we know that their AAA games have kind of skyrocketed when it comes to budget. But they're revealing here that Guerrilla took a lot of effort to do their due diligence, which I can respect and I think is great, because I think when you look at the Horizon series, one thing you cannot deny is that these tribes are very much distinct from one another and also have a very unique feel to them. So I think they did a very good job with that, and it's easily lost on people how if they didn't put that time and effort into it, all of these tribes would end up feeling exactly the same or extremely similar and not distinct at all. And that, I think, would have went a long way in kind of diminishing the overall appeal of the story and the world itself. So just thought I would give you that little bit of insight. We're going to move on to the next topic, though, which talks about a report from MP First that seems to corroborate a earlier rumor that a Resident Evil 0 remake is in development. They say here, following the huge success of the Resident Evil remakes, it's no surprise that Capcom continues to work on more projects remaking classic entries. Among the most requested titles for a current-gen treatment are the acclaimed 2000 spin-off focusing on Claire Redfield, Code Veronica, and the GameCube prequel Resident Evil 0. Fortunately for fans, the existence of both projects have been repeatedly corroborated by reliable sources, suggesting we will see them in the near future. We can now confirm that Resident Evil 0 Remake is indeed a reality, and we were able to gather some details about the project, including additions to the plot, casting, and information regarding its development. Similar to what has been reported by reputable insiders, we've been told that Resident Evil 0 Remake is a project that has been in development for a few years now. The title has been worked on under the codename Chamber, which works as a clever pun referencing the last name of the protagonist, Rebecca Chambers, and the voice and performance capture work with new actors for the leads would have begun at some point in 2024. One of the actors joining the new cast list is John McLaren, known for playing Star-Lord in the 2021 game adaptation of Guardians of the Galaxy and for his role in Far Cry 5. We know this thanks to a mention on the actor's resume where Project Chamber is listed as one of his projects and is noted as a lead role. Additionally, this project is overseen by Beyond Capture Studios, a motion capture company that has previously collaborated with Capcom on games such as Resident Evil 4 Remake and Street Fighter 6. Taking into account the actor is a lead on the project, it's probable that John McLaren is the actor responsible for playing Billy Cohen, the co-protagonist of the original game, alongside Rebecca Chambers. With these casting details, we can likely rule out any return of the original game's voice actors, even though recasting is a common practice within the Resident Evil remakes. Now, in terms of plot, the remake is expected to expand upon the source material, although the core story will remain the same, another common characteristic of RE remakes. Before continuing, we must warn you of minor plot spoilers, and so I am not going to go any further than this. So based off of everything we know, the Resident Evil release pipeline is looking like Resident Evil Requiem for 2026, Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake for 2027, and then Resident Evil 0 Remake for 2028. Not too bad, honestly. But guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.